The champion of the 2025 RBC Heritage, Justin Thomas. He picks up his 16th PGA Tour victory in his 250th start, and he wins for the first time since 2022. Justin, I know you would have liked to have won before this, but I know this place is super special to you and a great place to get this done. If we can get some comments.
Yeah, thank you. There we go. You're good. Yeah, this is a golf course and a place that I love. I mean, I'm fortunate to play the Junior Heritage, a junior tournament here. So it's just I feel like it's a golf course that fits my game, or it's a place that I just really enjoy to play, because I think it's a place that rewards good golf, but it can really penalize you, and you can make bogeys so fast if you get out of position. And I was really proud of today, of just staying patient and kind of plotting our way along. And yeah, I mean, I feel like winning on a golf course like this is a pretty cool thing to add to your resume. And not that I wouldn't have taken one wherever I could get it, and still will, but yeah, it's a great feeling.
Take us through the putt, the first hole, or first playoff hole, and then also to win with Jillian and Molly there,
yeah,
which I know is super special. For
sure. We unfortunately had the disappointing walk together as a family in Tampa. After had a couple shot lead there with a couple holes to go, and didn't have a good finish, and Victor went in there. So it was I feel like I used a lot of that as kind of momentum, or just to build on and motivation, if you will. But so it was great to have them there behind the green and be able to enjoy that win and celebrate with them. And I mean, the joy and excitement it brought to me to be able to see them after the putt went in, and even walking up to the green was something I definitely didn't think I would feel in past. But the putt in the playoff was a putt I feel like I'd seen in past. It's kind of a funky little pin of if you try to play too much break, it seems like it kind of stays out. But it just, more than anything, like I did all weekend, I felt like I had my read of a little bit outside the left of it being straight and falling right, and I just committed to that and really just tried to put a good stroke with good speed on it, and yeah, it looked good the whole way.
All right, we'll start with questions. Doug?
More relief or more joy?
I think joy. I think there's definitely some relief in there, but it was, when the ball went in, it was pure joy. It was excitement and happy, but it was like after I kind of had that interaction with Joe, it was like just looking around, and it was just, it was joy. I just was so happy. I couldn't stop smiling.
You dropped your putter before the ball went in, right?
I did?
Yeah.
All right, let's go Ron and then Paul.
Given your career path the last 3 years and all we talked about, what was the hardest part? Was it working through that or waiting on today? Was it finding the key or waiting for today?
I don't know. I think, the hard part about it is it's really hard to win. And I feel like I've been playing well enough to win for a couple of years, but just because you feel that way and you are, obviously that doesn't mean that you're going to. Obviously to 23 was tough, and it was trying to work my way through it and get my way out of that. But it definitely, I feel like I was putting more pressure on myself even last year to win than I was this year. And I feel like my game is in such a better place and in a good spot to where I'm just really trying as hard as I can to get myself in a place mentally of just trusting and playing and just committing to what I'm doing, and having the belief that it's going to be good enough the more often I get myself there. And I've done that a couple times this year and hadn't been able to close it out. And I even knowing in the playoff, it was like, if it, obviously I plan and hope and want to win, but if it doesn't, we're just going to keep plugging and try to put ourselves there next time.
All right, let's go to Paul on the left.
You had obviously played much better golf last year compared to what you did in 2023, and great golf here. did you feel at all like still you needed a win to feel like that bad stretch could be fully kind of put to bed and behind you?
I'd say so. I mean, I think it was the last thing missing, if you will, I guess I don't know. It's hard to say because obviously careers are so long and there's so much up and down and lots going on that you never know what point of your career you're at until it's over. So at least for me, I felt like it was the last thing that I needed to do for my own well-being. I've unfortunately, but also fortunately, had been long enough without winning that I feel like I wasn't getting the same question every week. It was just kind of like it's so far in the past, we got other things that we can talk about type thing. So I'm way more happy for myself than I am of anything in that regard of like not having to deal with that or anything anymore.
I was talking to Jordan. He said he saw you out here kind of grinding on Monday, day after the Masters. What were you working on?
Just trying to sharpen things up. I mean, last week I felt like it was weird at Augusta. I hit some really, really good shots, and then I just hit some really bad shots. I felt like there really wasn't anything in between. Then again, when kind of sitting back and looking at the week, I mean, I tried to be reasonable with myself, and like it was very clearly not a normal week with the very unfortunate situation with Rev and his back going out, and then not knowing what I'm going to do for a caddy, and then figuring out Tuesday Joe could come, and then us having 9 holes together and pretty much like on the fly and on the go figuring out how it's going, and then also trying to play well. So I mean, I gave myself a little bit of grace once it was over, but I mean, that round I played on Sunday in the back 9 and birdied the last 2 holes. Nobody would pay attention. They have no reason to pay attention to it, especially with what happened on Sunday at Augusta. But it's something for us as players we take a lot of pride in, and I felt like it was easy to take the day off, but just needed a little bit that I felt like if I could just sharpen some things up and really come into a week at a place that I loved, prepared and ready to go, then we could have a chance to win this week.
All right, right over here on the left, and then to Ron in the back.
Yeah, Max Siraj, Loco Sports. Wanted to ask, as you came into the final round, did you think you had an idea of how those greens were moving with the ball and across the green and stuff like that?
A little bit. I mean, it was so fun playing this place like this. Obviously, this isn't normal circumstances of them, at least to my understanding, kind of tearing them up. I don't know if it's tomorrow or soon, but they could let the greens go. It just was so hard to get the ball close to the hole. I kind of was talking to my dad last night about that. It's, I played well yesterday. I just kept having numbers and clubs or angles that a really good shot was 20, 25 feet, or it was a club that I, maybe couldn't quite get to the hole, but the other one wasn't going to have enough spin to stop near the hole, and it was going to go past. And when you get at places like this, it really is just about being patient and kind of picking the spots when you have them. So I felt like, we had a good idea of how the course was playing, and it was almost kind of like hitting a tee shot, getting out there, assessing, okay, this is a pin we can go after, this is a pin we can't, and then just being, aggressive to those conservative targets, if you will.
All right, let's go back to Ron and then Taylor.
You may have just answered this, but beyond the playoff, what do you feel like you did the best today? Was it just patience and staying sort of where your feet are at the moment?
Probably, but man, I putted the ball beautifully today. I played really, really well, tee to green. I didn't really hit very many what I felt like bad shots. It's so fun, stepping up on holes like 17, although it'd be a 9-iron, but it's got to be hit perfectly to kind of get in that little window and land it where you want to land it, and executing those kind of shots. And I mean, even missing that putt on 17, but that putt's breaking 5 feet and so downhill and hitting it exactly how I wanted and it almost going in. I mean, it just is. I felt like I had control of everything, and it never felt like I needed to force things out there or was hoping things were happening. I just was kind of like, let's just keep playing and I'll make birdies when I can. So the patience was great, but I those par putts and putts I made on the front nine were huge for my momentum and keeping them.
All right, let's go to Taylor and then Doug.
So your daughter Molly is not old enough to where she'll remember this, but in 10 years from now, what are the memories or the moments that stick out that you're going to look back on and tell her about?
From today?
Yeah.
I mean, just having her here, having her and Jill here, it's just it's just seeing them. I mean, walking up 18 green, even in regulation, I had to look away because it's when you're out there in the moment, you're focused on what you're doing. I mean, it's business. I mean, I'm trying to execute and do what I'm doing and trying to win a golf tournament, and just walking up there and seeing them and not knowing what Andrew did on 17, and I'm obviously trying to figure out how I'm going to either make this putt and also two putt it, and it's hard to not start thinking about what could be when I see them. So that's where I had to just kind of like put my head down and take a deep breath, because it's like that's when I feel like I could get into, I want this so bad for us. And I mean, how unbelievable my wife Jill's been, and just being a rock star and supporting. So I mean, I just would just tell her, how much fun it was for us to do this as a family, I'd say.
All right, let's go Doug and then Paul.
Just to get golfy for a little bit, those putts you hold from 5 through 8, and how big were those in the scheme of the whole day?
Huge. I'd say 4 through 8 as well, Doug. But
What happened on 4?
I made like a 8-footer for par.
Nice putt.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they were massive. I mean, it was something I felt. I remembered specifically telling myself in Tampa that, starting a little back, or being in the position I was going into Sunday, if I could go bogey-free, I felt like that was huge, in the sense of, that most likely other guys are going to make some bogeys, whether it be one or multiple. Like, not everybody's going to go bogey-free, so I felt like I put a lot of emphasis on that, and playing smart and picking my spots of, like, if I can go bogey-free, I feel like that's going to really put me in position. So making those putts and also making them with conviction and kind of in the middle, and how I wanted the speed I wanted, it just is they're huge for confidence, because like Joe kept saying, he's just put the ball in the fairway and put it on the green type thing. You're rolling it so well, start making some putts for birdie instead of for par. And if I don't, who knows, if I don't make those putts on 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, it's just it's a totally different day, and then I have to start pressing on the back nine versus just staying patient.
And I'm curious about the 7-iron on 8. What did you have there? Where did you hit it?
Yeah, that was a steal, to be honest, because I just pulled pulled my tee shot, and I actually don't know how the ball really did that, because I had mud on the left side of it, and I needed to hit a little bit of a low draw. It's actually a pin that I feel like you can get close to, just because of how firm the greens were, and it all kind of funnels to it. If you could just get it on the green, it does funnel to the pin. But given the mud on the ball, it really was luck. It was a guess. I'm like, I had plenty of distance to get there with an 8-iron, but I felt like if I could knock down a 7-iron to where if the mud did take it, at least it would get on the ground before it got to the people, versus if an 8-iron getting up in the air, if the mud took it, it could fly over the people, and who knows what could happen. So that's another one I feel like of me just kind of trusting the millions of golf shots I've hit, and just seeing the amount of mud and just guessing it's going to move a little bit, and I just kind of turn the club face down. I'm not trying to get my aim a certain spot or swing a certain direction or whatever it is. I'm just kind of looking up, and I'm just trying to be more of an athlete type thing, and just hit and accept where it goes, and I was very fortunate that it went to where it did.
All right, let's take a couple more. Paul?
Justin, statistically, this is the best you've putted in years. What's behind the improvement that you've seen?
I'd say I told Todd this a couple days ago. We were talking about it. It just is obviously it's a lot of work and time spent on it, but I mean, as funny as it is, a huge help I called Xander at the end of last year because I think he's one of the best putters in fundamentals, and not just putting but everything. And I just was like, can I just pick your brain for like 2 or 3 hours, just talk to you about putting? And so he came out with me, and then he just was asking me a bunch of different questions. And I mean, you guys obviously know Xander, but it's just he doesn't leave any box unchecked. He's going to, like he said that day, he's like, if it has anything to do with you potentially improving in golf, I've probably done it or tried it. And so I just was talking to him about his process and how he reads greens and how he sees things and his practice and everything. And it honestly was just being with him, and he would kind of ask something, and I was like, well, yeah, like I used to do that. And then it was like, well, how about something like this? Like, yeah, I used to use the string line here. Okay. And then it just, the more I was talking, I'm like, I don't do any of the things that I used to do my best putting years. Like 2017, 18, I was very, very regimented of the things that I did, and how he said it is I had a home base, and I had no home base. I had things that I did, but it was a very vague bag of things, and there was no consistency to it. And I feel like I used to have a very good home base of fundamentals and things that I did. So it honestly, while he helped, it was more of the questions he asked made me realize that I'm trying basically too hard, and I'm trying too many different things, versus I think it's a serious skill to continue to work on the things that you do really well and not doing them differently. And I think that's been more of what it is. It's just I have my fundamentals and things that I do and checkpoints, and I'm sticking to them.
Was it confusing in those years where you weren't putting well because you knew you had been a good putter in the past and it wasn't translating?
It's more, it wasn't that I was a good putter. I still was a good putter those years and am a good putter. It just it's unique and different because it's, I'd say, the only part of golf you can't really make the ball do things. I mean, if I'm not hitting it good, I can step up on the first tee here with a driver and I can hit some kind of little low chip cut and trying to just advance it. But if I don't know or feel good over a putter, if a putt's left edge, like it's pretty much left edge. I can't create enough, and I think I'm very artistic and feel based in all of my game, and I think once I got to putting in the putting green, I turned into way too mechanical and robotic, and that's not me. I'm better off, I call it pro-am putting, when it's like I obviously want to make the putts that I'm hitting in a pro-am, but I'm not grinding on a read and thinking about all these different things. I'm pretty much stepping up, give it a look, and go, and how often I make putts. So it was probably more up here than it was anywhere else.
All right, we'll wrap it up with Doug.
Couple of things. You've never been paired with Andrew before. Did you know much about him until the playoff? Had you met him, frankly?
No, but funny enough, Joe said in the playoff, he's like, I've never been out with Andrew, have you? And I was like, I actually have. He's like, when was that? I was like, well, I played a practice round at the Travelers a couple years ago. Like, I wanted to just play the back nine, and I got to 10T, and it was it was in the afternoon, and I don't want to be jumping in front of anybody or whatever it is, so it's like him and Ben Griffin were playing, and I was like, can I just join you guys? It's like, yeah. So I played the back nine with them, and they were having some kind of match, and all of a sudden they're talking, and Andrew shot 59 that day. So I told Joe, I was like, yeah, I've played with him once, and he shot 59 at the TPC River Highlands. So yeah, he's obviously very good, but it was, so yes, that was my experience, and you could see in the shot he hit into 18, and it just, when he gets going, he's going.
Where were you when he stood over that 8-footer? Did you see, or were you just waiting?
I was in the scoring tent. They had
watching?
a TV in there, and I was watching, yeah.
All right, and then lastly, I wanted to ask a little bit about how your feelings were on the golf course compared with Tampa, compared with Amex, for example. And second to that, do you think this gives you any more freedom going forward, or did you need any? It's a lot for you, I know. Sorry.
Yeah. I felt more and more comfortable each time. I I was very, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was nervous, but it was way different kind of nerves today. I felt very, very calm. You know, I didn't feel like I was going to win. I didn't feel like I was going to lose. I was just playing, and it's just so hard to, unfortunately, so hard to get into that place mentally, of just trusting and believing it and just kind of letting it happen. But it's, I would say, like Amex, I mean, I was so nervous before, you know, the day starting, and it's like the more you're there, the more you're comfortable I am with it. And then Tampa, it's, I was nervous, but it was the first kind of like very comfortable nervous I felt while I was out there playing, and just really kind of got into the whole situation and process and whatnot. And then today, I don't know, I was way more nervous on Friday than I was today. It was weird. I said that to Joe. I was like, I feel like this is like a Sunday. Like I'm playing for something today to win the tournament or not. And very clearly and obviously was not the case. But so, you know, just like everything else, you feel different every day. It just fortunately felt great today.
Well, Justin, we couldn't be happier for you. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
All right.